Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming to the Colorado Society Demo Day presentation here. And my name is Sean Windle from ERP Advisors Group. We're grateful that you're here. So I want to start off with a little bit of an overview of ERP Advisors. We are an independent software advisory firm. So all we do are independent, objective software advisory projects, and we're really, really good at them. We've done them for many, many years, and have built out a really nice methodology that works for mid-size organizations. And we have a phenomenal team. I mean, that's really, I think, our secret sauce are the individuals that you see kind of behind here. I have another picture where you'll see their faces. But we've been very successful as well. We've been very fortunate to make the Inc. 5000 several years in a row. We're back on the list this year as well too. So fast growing firm. We've been very involved with the Denver Business Journal. But probably my most favorite award is the Best Place to Work award. That's pretty cool. I love my people. They love what they do and they love their clients. And we do a great job of taking care of individual clients with their software advisory projects. Speaking of the team, here they are. So you can see we've got a good sized team. We've built the firm over 15 years, and right now about 35. Actually, we just hired our 36th employee who starts tomorrow. So we're very fast growing. We're looking at continuing to increase our growth over time, and just been very fortunate to have I think the best people in the entire industry that are committed to again helping clients do the right thing. That's the key part of it. And speaking of clients, we focus on complex mid-size clients. That's usually privately held or maybe even some public organizations, nonprofit organizations we work with, private equity backed, a lot of North American based, a lot of Colorado based companies, but also throughout all the US and international as well, but mostly North American based. And we've really become a leader in our segment of ERP advising. We have the ERP Minute, which is a phenomenal LinkedIn post that we do of news about ERP software and other types of software. Rebecca McCabe supports and hosts that. She does a great job. Sometimes you see Charlie pop in there too. We've been doing the ERP Advisor podcast for a really, really long time. And we have hundreds of thousands of downloads. We put out some really good points about enterprise software that are super, super helpful. Everything you see from us really comes along the vein of how can we help you to be more successful with your projects. We always do quarterly continuing professional education as well. We work with the Colorado Society on that. We do some of our own. So if you need CPE, you can join in. We're NASPA certified, and we're able to do that for about an hour once a quarter. So that's the team. And I think in the spirit of kind of the demo day, we wanted to, how do you demonstrate a service, right? Well, you kind of do that a little bit by talking about what makes us different. And these are some key things, right? EAG is ERP Advisors Group. The first thing is we don't accept compensation from any vendor or partner and are completely unbiased. The only bias we have, frankly, are that we always work with phenomenal software vendors, great implementation partners. Sometimes they get busy and they're not so great. It drives me crazy. But hey, we know how to work with them because it's important that folks understand that we do a lot of projects. We're tens of millions of dollars of software that we advise clients on purchasing and the implementation services that go with them every year. And so we're not a co-op or we're not a broker. That's not our model. We are an advisory firm, but we can bring more services to our clients from software vendors because we have a lot of clients with the software vendors. So it is a big difference that even though we don't receive compensation, so we are truly, truly independent and objective, we're able to get and merit a little more power for our clients than they could on their own. The middle point here is vital. We are truly technology independent. We have no preference for or prejudice against any technology. We're free to recommend the technology that best fits our clients' needs. And that could be don't change your software, stay on QuickBooks, all the way to I'm so sorry to be the one to tell you, but you are going to have to do this ginormous project because you've grown a lot and your current software can't support you. I'm sorry, right? We've if you think about that spectrum, we have been all the way from each end to the other end, from one end to the other, and a lot of in between advice. But we are truly looking at what is best for our clients' needs. And then we've worked with a lot of companies and projects. We've done over, I think it's 600, if not more. Maybe it's even 700 projects in 15 years. You do the math on that, and that's a lot of projects that we do. But because we do mid-sized companies and nonprofits and even some government entities, the projects are pretty small. And they're rapid. Like, we don't like to take projects that last forever, right? We want to kind of get them done, get you into your application, get you happy, and get on with it. So we've done a ton of projects. We've worked with hundreds of businesses and other organizations, like I said, and we've really developed a deep understanding of ERP and many other business applications like customer relationship management, e-commerce, human capital management, HR, payroll, workforce management, patient care reporting for fire departments. We've even done, at one point we did rodeo management system for Pro Rodeo Association down in the Springs. Like, we've done all kinds of different software applications, usually around the concept of commercial off the shelf or packaged software application, needs analysis, selection, implementation. So that's what really makes us different. And it's all we do. We don't also do other stuff like implement Oracle, or we don't have we don't have an attestation practice, right? We are purely focused in this area. So we're really focused on what you need. Okay. I don't like to talk about ourselves this much, but it is the demo day, so I'm going to keep doing it. Actually, I'm going to talk about some clients here in a little bit. I'm looking forward to doing that. But let me cover a couple more points here. My team won't let me get off the Zoom. Okay, so basically, there's three kind of categories of advisory services that we offer at a very high level. The first one is called the needs analysis. And what we're really looking at for our clients here are, what are the problems you're trying to solve with new software? You would think that would be easy, right? Oh, QuickBooks doesn't work for me, or oh, I'm spending too much on renewal from some company, or oh, I've been on this software for 20 years and nobody knows how to use it. Okay, that's true, right? But like, just because it seems like you should switch, like, what's really going on? What's the real why, we call it, on why you should switch? And by the way, even with those problems, are you sure that a new application is going to solve it? Because you don't want to do this unless you have to. Like, it's expensive, right? What's the software going to cost? How do you make sure your project doesn't fail? A lot of these projects don't go very well when they switch out ERPs and other apps. So, these are some pretty tough questions, and we're there to help you to work through each of these questions and come up with really good objective data about what your needs really are, so that then you know what you're trying to solve for. And once you know kind of what the needs are, then you can start mapping out the ideal solutions. And we know all of them. The ERPs that are out there, there's like a handful that are like the most prevalent. You know them already. But it's not just about which app, it's like how you should use the app too, right? And what is it really going to cost? And I mean all in cost. And what are the real benefits that we're going to get from this? And then, what's the roadmap for implementation? Those are the things that we cover in the needs analysis. And when we do presentations all the time to people, I will tell anybody, you need to do these things if you're looking at doing your own project too. So that's the needs assessment. Then, all right, we need new software, or we don't. Oh man, you dodged a bullet if you don't. But if you do, here we go. You've got to do the selection process. And look, it's expensive. It's risky. It really requires an expert to do these things. And a lot of our clients, like the sponsor who's responsible for doing the selection project, that one brave soul at their organization. They're usually doing it as a part-time job, right? Like they have a full-time job doing something, and maybe they have several hours per week, or even maybe they're solely focused on this project, but they haven't done 20 or 30 selections in the last 6 months like we have. So that's how we can do an ERP selection so effectively. Is we got the short list already. We know which vendors are the top ones, especially for vertical and micro vertical needs, right? We've been through all kinds of industries. I'll talk to you a little bit more about that in a bit. And we are really white glove service on the selection, I think, for all of our services, but definitely in the selection. We will schedule meetings. We will put scorecards together. We'll tally scorecards. We make sure vendors show up. We make sure they're prepared so that you don't look bad. If a vendor comes and does a demo and it's terrible, and your boss is like, "Oh my gosh, why did you invite me to this? This is terrible." And you say, "But I told them, boss, that they were supposed to do this stuff." Oh, like that doesn't happen with our stuff. And if it does, usually somebody gets fired on the vendor side, to be totally honest with you. Unfortunately, that does happen maybe every other year. Anyway, then the biggest, I think, value add that we do on the selection is we do the contract negotiations. So because, like I said earlier, we're doing 7-figure software and implementation services purchasing every year. So, over 15 years, that's a lot of purchasing. So we know the best practices. We know where the discounts and everything else are available in these contracts. And we also know the levers that you can pull in terms of your negotiations. So those are some key things there. Whew, that's it. Okay. ERP advisor, see you later. No, 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 no. The reason why I started this firm was for this. We stick around for our clients' implementations, because every client that I worked with at my prior firm, when we would do the selection and we'd say, "Good luck with that," right? They had a hard time. Implementations are hard no matter what, but it was hard, 3 hards, like really, really, really hard. And what I realized was that our clients don't do ERP implementations for a living. And the vendors, that when the implementation partners, what we call them, comes in and says, "Okay, what do you want?" And you're like, "Well, I think I told you guys during this selection process what I wanted. So why are you asking me again?" Well, guess what? It's a new team, and there's different individuals. So what we saw was that our clients, maybe they've been through a couple implementations. Maybe they even had more experience than just a couple. Maybe they had done 3 or 4 or 5 ERP implementations, but that was over, 10, 20 years. We're in 20 ERP implementations and different package software implementations right now. So we know what needs to get done. And our technical project managers, we call them client-side implementation consultants. They do project management, but they also do a lot of technical oversight because they've been through these projects before. They know how your data migration is going to go. They know your integrations. They know your change management, and they'll build those plans and work through you with that. So, those are all things, by the way, that you as the client, or as your client's clients, depending on who's listening to this, they have to do all that stuff. And they don't even know it usually until they start the project. So it's like, "Oh my gosh, what's all this stuff?" Well, you got to do it. So we help our clients do that too. And that really helps to get more transparency on what's happening with the project, because problems are going to happen, of course. These are large scale projects. There's lots of people involved. And so with us, though, we make sure to manage all that stuff. So those are the 3 main services that we offer. And we do work with a lot of types of organizations. We are, you can see the list here. But if you think about it, especially for a Colorado Society audience here, our firm grew up in Denver, and really Colorado and the Rocky Mountains. And you all know we have a very diverse industry set here, with agriculture, high tech, lots of wholesale distribution, private equity, nonprofit, tons of field services, lots of government, horticulture, from like perennials, annuals, greenhouses, those kinds of things, tons of professional services, lots of energy, retail, e-commerce. Like, these are all companies that and organizations that we've worked with. I'll even give you some of the names of our clients here in a moment. But Our focus is again on working with complex mid-size organizations. So how in the world can you be experts in all these industries? Well, first off, we actually are. We know the business requirements of these industries for their enterprise software packages. So, the one in the middle there, if you look at a greenhouse like that, tracking the development of plants from seedlings, there's another name, all the way through to finished product. There's pay by scan programs. There's all kinds of complexities that that industry has with just inventory management that other industries don't. So we've been through that. We've been through a ton of process manufacturing, food and beverage, and all those things, and batch manufacturing, all these really hard requirements, labels. So we know those requirements and we know the impact to software. And here is the thing, we will select an implementation partner that is an industry expert in your industry. So we are looking for companies that have nonprofit experience, not just software, but also implementation partners. But we know enough about fund accounting. We know enough about donor advised funds. We've worked with all kinds of nonprofits, health and human service, and foundations. I could just go on and on. But again, our job is to sort of link between what your requirements are and what the software requirements are for your vertical and your micro vertical requirements, and then get the right implementation partner in there who knows and can go even deeper. We've done all kinds of companies throughout Colorado. There's many, many more, but this is just a selection of some of the great, great organizations. I could cry when I look at this list because, I mean, we've been through a lot with all of these people that were behind these logos, from, huge, some of the largest nonprofit organization in Colorado rolling out their HR payroll system, which was extremely difficult, but they're there to some, an organization on here that's $1 billion that you maybe have never heard of before, that's looking to revolutionize their industry with their technology. So just phenomenal organizations, great people, connected with a lot of people on LinkedIn. I've worked with many, many executives throughout my era of several decades, but just been very fortunate to work with a lot of different companies. Okay, so I would like to spend a few minutes just giving you guys, I hope, some nuggets, some things that we've learned along the way that can help you, maybe even help you as you're talking to your clients or people that are looking at enterprise software changes, which seems like it's a lot always. So I'm going to go through 3 testimonies. I'm going to talk about the needs process, the selection process, and then the implementation process, just to give you some good things. So this first gentleman, Bud Price, love Bud. He's a great guy. We went through the whole life cycle of their enterprise software with them, and what was interesting with this particular company in terms of their needs analysis was, being in steel and in the metals industry, there's large ERP solutions that are the most prevalent. I won't use any names, but this particular client was looking at that like, OMG, we have a supplier to us, a very large steel company, that went through an implementation, spent $25 million with this company, and it failed. And we can't let that happen. We're not that big, but we just can't do it. Like, it would be the worst thing in the world to do for our people and money and all that. So when we took a look at their needs, what we realized was they didn't really need a big ERP. Instead, they needed one that was really strong with distribution, of course, and service, and financials, and that we could kind of right size them into an application that was more like a mid-tier ERP than some of the large ones. But man, we dug and scraped around in that organization. They have multiple offices throughout the U.S., multiple locations, and could also see that the opportunity to standardize their processes on one application made a ton of sense as they were looking to grow and actually even expand and bring in other locations too through acquisition. So, it was a good project because when we got through that needs analysis with them, they looked at it and said, you know what, this is really doable. Like, we see now what we really need isn't this big ginormous thing. It's more like this. We can see what the costs are, the benefits are. We can see what the roadmap is to get there. And we feel a lot more comfortable doing it, presented to their board, and got the approval to move forward, and then went through the selection process, ended up with a great product, and then implemented. So they were coming off of a custom system too, which was really good because that there were some concerns about just longevity and support. So great project there. Another really good company, Denver-based Braun Tapes, with Adam. Love Adam, great person. They hired us through that same process of needs selection and implementation. But I want to talk about their selection here for a minute because they really wanted to find one system that could perform all of the management duties across their business processes in just one app. And so the selection was pretty interesting because as a distributor and even value-added manufacturing, and even some aerospace and stuff that they were doing is pretty interesting requirements. To find one app that could do it all wasn't easy. So we really had to kind of, spread the net pretty wide to pull in all the vendors that we could. And ultimately, we did get them down to one application that they were able to implement across multiple branches again throughout the U.S. And they had a really successful project with that too. Now, we had a lot of pain. We had a lot of anguish. The data migration was hard. There's no doubt that all these projects are hard. I don't want to just make them all sound rosy what is it? The gilded lilies, right? Gilded lilies. No, it wasn't that. It was actually, it was very challenging, especially when you have big teams that are distributed to get them to agree on the application and then get it in place was challenging. But these guys worked through it. We did get them into their application, which they're still running today. And then my last client testimony comes from the Denver Foundation, in Denver, of course. And, great group, been around for over 100 years. I think this is our 100-year anniversary. And it meant a lot to us to be able to advise them on new software. They were on some legacy software that wasn't being supported as much as it had been in the past. And so we're able to find a best of breed solution for them. And, I think they've grown, the software company has grown. I think Denver Foundation has grown together with that firm. And again, it isn't without challenges, guys. Like anybody who says that ERP is easy I would hang up the phone. I would not listen anymore. It's hard. And we went through some challenges with Denver Foundation, but the key thing is that the people involved in the implementation were committed to making it go right. And so we were able to do that through the implementation process, ran into many different challenges from legacy data being converted to even just getting agreement on how to use the app and even the vendor having some issues. But as long as you keep communicating and you work through the challenges, you will get there to a successful go live because you kind of have to. So those are just some ideas, some lessons learned there too that I hope are helpful for you all as you're looking at different projects. A little bit more on us here, and then I'll just wrap up here in the next couple minutes. So here's the thing. We are, like I said earlier, this is all we do. So we don't have an incentive to pitch you a specific application or, try to sell some big project. And then like some of the firms I've worked with in the past, especially when I started my career, they want to stay with you forever. That's not our model. Because ERP projects are all we do, we don't water down our expertise or our firm's focus with other professional services at all. This is literally that we are a very boutique firm. That's why we have clients really around the world. And we do price our projects at affordable rates. We are really looking to service the growing mid-market organizations. We love them because those are organizations that are really making a difference for people. They're a lot more fun to work with sometimes than some of the larger companies that we've all worked with in the past. If you're a larger company, maybe you know what I mean when I say that. But our clients have to be successful. Like they cannot fail with their ERP project. And I was involved with earlier in my career projects that didn't go well, and there were really no ramifications. It was like, that's not right. Well, our clients, they got to go live. So we like that necessity level is very high. We've got to manage timelines. We got to get the real results there for a reasonable budget. And then here's the other thing is we do not have a practice that also sells or makes money from software sales and implements the technical implementation of any apps. So a lot of the big four, big three, a lot of larger management consulting firms, they do. So they'll do the advisory work And then they'll also say, well, hey, we'll bring in, well, we're independent because it's a different group and we can bring in this group or that group or that group or that group. Well, what if the right answer is nothing? Or what if the right answer is invest in your current app? Oh yeah, we'll tell you that. Okay. Okay. Well, you're also incented not to. Not us. So we just focus on just this stuff. And we really do have a methodology though that is really interesting because it's based on our work with Big Four, but it's really right size for mid-sized clients. So we actually certify every consultant in our firm through testing. Nobody else does that, not even the Big Four, as far as I know. And so that way we can assure that every client gets a high standard of service. Even our competitors don't do that. So a couple last things on us here. Speaking of Colorado Society, we are NASBA accredited CPE providers. Like we've actually taken a lot of time to invest back into our community, if you will, of not just free online CPE, but we also do a lot of monthly continuing education for our team, our internal team. And for our public, the people who are listening to us in podcasts and those kinds of things. Like I said, it's 60,000 downloads. Actually, I think it's even more now because these podcasts have really gone out to many people. People listen to them on their treadmills, they're running, listening about ERP. I try to make it interesting. I hope it's interesting. But even our other guest speakers do stuff. We also do a whole thing on ERPs, leaders in ERP, where we're interviewing different leaders throughout these enterprise software companies, because we want to bring the information of what's going on in the market to you so that you can stay up to date. We also work with Financial Executives International and even other CFO groups too. We participate in many events throughout the year, all free stuff, right? We love to get out there and talk about things so that you don't make mistakes. And then we do ongoing training and education. I mentioned a little bit of this too. We do go to all the major software vendor conferences. That helps us to stay in the loop and know what's going on. We participate in industry forums so we know what's happening. And then our knowledge of the vendor earnings, the acquisition, divestitures, even their hiring, product releases, it's all stuff that like you would expect a leader in ERP to do. We do all those things. So that is ERP Advisors Group. I really appreciate you making it this far in. Listen, we are really, really here to help. Our whole intention in building this business was to help folks to make their ERP projects more successful, and that's just what we do. It's kind of a strange area to focus in this one little niche. But we really are here for you, and feel free to reach out to me. That's my number. That's my email. You can always do a free consultation there. Just do the barcode scanning or the code there, and you will, you'll see that we're here to help. So thank you all very much. Appreciate it. And we'll talk to y'all soon. You know where to find us.